Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are tackling a deeply frustrating scenario. I want you to picture this. You've got a student who grasps complex concepts in an absolute snap, right? They can easily explain really difficult ideas to their friends, and their questions in class are genuinely insightful. But then, the exam results are posted, and they completely bomb it. It's a picture of total disappointment, and honestly, it leaves everyone involved just scratching their heads.
So we have to address the big question that every parent, teacher, and student in this situation is asking. What exactly happened here? You're so smart, why on earth are your grades so poor? It's a completely valid thing to wonder about, but unpacking this requires us to face a rather hard truth that we often like to ignore. Being naturally intelligent is simply not the same thing as knowing how to succeed academically. They are actually two entirely different skill sets.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for decoding this whole disconnect today. First up, the intelligence paradox. Second, we'll look at 5 academic pitfalls. Third, a guide for students. And finally, some advice for parents. Kicking things off with Section 1, the intelligence paradox. Intelligence versus academic success.
You know, early academic success, like what a bright student experiences in primary school, often creates this massive, really dangerous false sense of security. Natural intelligence might absolutely carry a student through those early years, when the cognitive load is pretty light. They build a habit of thinking, hey, I don't need to study consistently, I'll just understand it when I get to the exam. But as the academic level ramps up and becomes significantly more difficult, natural intelligence alone hits a brick wall. It is simply not enough to carry a student through complex, multi-layered academics. You literally need preparation and consistency.
Let's move right along to Section 2, 5 academic pitfalls, or exactly where smart students go wrong. We're going to methodically break down the specific mistakes these naturally bright students make when the curriculum finally catches up to their intellect. Pitfall number 1 is relying way too much on natural ability while completely neglecting disciplined training. Think about a naturally gifted athlete for a second. Just because they have great genetics or natural speed doesn't mean they can just skip practice, right? If they don't train with rigorous discipline, they will inevitably lose their advantage against harder competition. The exact same thing applies to education. Talent gives you a head start, absolutely, for sure. But disciplined training is what actually allows you to maintain that advantage. And this brings us to pitfall number 2, passive reading versus active testing. Picture a student sitting at their desk, intensely highlighting a textbook for 3 or 4 hours straight. They're copying down notes, they're rereading pages over and over. It looks like incredibly hard work. But the reality? They remember almost nothing. Why? Well, because they don't actually know how to study. Rereading is passive. It just gives you this illusion of competence without actually testing your retention.
So what's the fix here? Effective learning requires active participation. Here's the concrete step-by-step process you need to use instead of just staring blankly at pages. Step 1, after studying a topic, physically close your book. Step 2, ask yourself out loud, what can I actually remember? Step 3, try solving questions without peeking at the answer key. And Step 4, teach or explain the concept to someone else. Creating your own practice questions and actively participating in your learning is how you actually retain that information.
Which leads us perfectly into pitfall number 3, the dangerous timeline of procrastination. An intelligent student looks at a test 3 weeks away and thinks, I'll start tomorrow. But we all know tomorrow easily becomes next week, which then magically shifts to the weekend until suddenly, oh no, the exam is tomorrow. This leads to the dreaded late-night cram session. The problem here is purely biological. Cramming starves your brain of the time it absolutely needs to properly process and practice the information. A focused 30 to 60 minutes a day beats a panicked 5-hour cram session every single time.
Pitfall number 4 is the illusion of competence. There is a massive difference between watching someone solve a problem and solving it yourself. This is absolutely crucial for problem-solving subjects like math, physics, chemistry, or engineering. You might watch your teacher solve 10 complex equations on the board and think, yeah, I get this, I understand. But on the exam, you freeze. You just haven't practiced enough. You have to solve problems yourself, make mistakes, check your answers, and try again.
Making mistakes on practice problems isn't proof that you're unintelligent, it is literal feedback showing you exactly what you need to improve.
And pitfall number 5 is one we constantly ignore: failing to practice self-care. Your brain is a physical organ, right? It's a part of your body. You need to get enough sleep, take breaks, exercise, eat properly, reduce distractions, and definitely manage your screen time. If you go into an exam exhausted from staying up late and staring at your phone for hours, your performance is going to tank. A thoroughly exhausted student studying frantically for 3 hours will accomplish vastly less than a well-rested, focused student who studies for just 1 hour. You have to give your brain time to recover.
Moving on to Section 3, Guide for Students, the Action Plan. Now, if you're a student and your grades aren't reflecting your true ability, it is so easy to start doubting yourself. You might be thinking, maybe I'm just not that intelligent after all. Please, take a breath. Do not immediately jump to that conclusion. Instead of doubting your intellect, I want you to go through this reflective checklist. Ask yourself honestly, do you have a consistent study routine? Do you practice enough? Do you actually test yourself after studying? Do you start preparing early? Do you understand what your teachers actually expect in examinations? And are you managing your time and your distractions? Academic success isn't simply about how smart you are. It's almost entirely about what you consistently do with what you know. Stop relying purely on intelligence and start developing your discipline.
And wrapping up with Section 4, Advice for Parents, Supportive Curiosity.
Parents, we really need to talk about how you react when your naturally bright child brings home a disappointing report card. If your child is intelligent but getting poor grades, please do not immediately shame them by saying things like, "You're wasting your intelligence." That shuts down communication instantly. Instead, I want you to sit down with them and use this exact quote: "What do you think is making school difficult for you?" The goal here is collaborative problem solving. Maybe they need better study techniques. Maybe they need help managing their time, or maybe just some extra support in one specific subject. Your goal shouldn't be to simply pressure them into higher grades. Your goal is to teach them how to become better learners.
If there's one crucial point you take away from this entire explainer today, it is this: intelligence helps you understand quickly, but discipline helps you perform consistently. Don't wait until examination week. Don't rely only on your memory. Don't just read, actually practice. Don't just study longer, study smarter, and learn from your mistakes instead of fearing them.
Which brings us to our final, somewhat provocative question for you to ponder. What do you think is truly more important for long-term academic success? Intelligence or hard work? Or do you firmly believe you absolutely need both just to survive? I really want you to debate this in the comments below. And hey, if you're a student who is currently struggling despite working hard, tell us which subject you are finding the most difficult right now. It might just be the very topic we decode next. Until then, keep learning, keep growing, and I will see you in the next explainer.